One of the things folks don't realize, there's obviously a lot of focus on capital spend, a lot of focus on AI, and a lot of focus on the custom silicon and silicon that's going into supporting AI. But our journey with custom silicon actually started all the way back in 2012. And so it's not a new thing at all. We've been on a journey to work out how do we bring the very best performance to our customers. And customers are always looking for improved price performance, which is more performance for every dollar spent. And so this journey has taken us through developing our own custom silicon for some of our own offload cards, to ultimately deciding to build a custom processor, which we call Graviton. That is a full CPU that gives customers better price performance than they could find elsewhere by running on AWS and using Graviton. And then the journey took us to supporting machine learning. Now, this is the very early days of machine learning, not quite the generative AI that we have today. And we started with some custom silicon way back in 2019 called Inferentia that allowed customers to get better performance at a lower price for inference. And then ultimately with our Trainium silicon launched just in 2021 that allows customers to do machine learning training workloads at a lower price with better performance. Now, this has set us up incredibly well for supporting customers with generative AI. And obviously in the last 2 years, where generative AI has taken off and the need for this compute has taken off, it's positioned AWS very well and given our customers improved price performance, which is the thing that we're chasing, is how do we give customers more performance for every dollar spent.
Dave, just give us a bit more colour then on enterprise demand, given the cyclical headwinds that are blowing, and what sort of energy efficiency especially you can deliver. And why should I, as a client, let's say, go for Graviton when there's other chips available from Intel and AMD, and how are you pricing it in this environment?
Well, absolutely, it's a great question. So customers are always looking for ways to save cost. Certainly, if you look back at just the financial environment we've been in the last 2 years, cost optimization has been a big push for many, many enterprises. And what we've been able to offer with Graviton is up to 40% better price performance, so cost savings, versus what you would get from an x86 processor. And so when customers come to AWS, if they have a workload that they're able to run on Graviton, which is actually an incredibly broad set of workloads, they're able to save 40%, which is an enormous saving. That sort of saving is not normally available with just moving to processors. And so that's the first thing that gets them onto Graviton. And it's really allowed us to grow Graviton. Today we have over 50,000 customers on AWS using Graviton. We've actually shipped more than 2 million Graviton processors to date. And all of our top 100 customers, and you can imagine these are some of the largest enterprises in the world, some of the newest startups, some of the fastest growing startups, are basing their enterprise and applications on our own custom processor, Graviton.
If Graviton is the backbone, Dave, tell us about AWS, Inferentia, and Trainium, which are equally part of the story as well, and how demand is shaping up for those parts of the business.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the machine learning workload, right? Just 5 years ago, I think enterprises were trying to get their heads around machine learning. Now every single enterprise out there is looking to deploy machine learning workloads. And one of the big things that they have to answer for is how much is this going to cost? Right, we've seen a lot of costs involved with generative AI. A lot of customers are prototyping generative AI. But really, as an industry, we have to find ways to reduce the cost in running generative AI and inference. And so we have 2 chips in that space, as you mentioned. Trainium, which helps customers train. That is the process of really processing large amounts of data and building a model. A customer over in Asia, Ricoh, used our Trainium chip, and they were able to train a 13 billion parameter model just in 8 days, which we were very pleased with. They're working on a 70 billion parameter model right now. And then once you have the model, the inference is the process of really running that model and analyzing data. And that's another place we really have to get the cost of inference down if we're going to use generative AI across all of our applications, and for it to have the impact that we're hoping it has generally in the market. And so we've seen customers like Cleon, as a South Korean company that's doing avatar work. You just have to provide them a single image and 30 seconds of voice data, and they're able to generate a human avatar. They're using our Inferentia chip, and we're actually able to reduce costs of inference by 58%, which is an incredible number. So those are the sorts of success stories that we're seeing with our custom silicon, and we're certainly hoping that more and more customers, really enticed by the cost savings and the performance benefits that we're able to offer, will take advantage of what we have in the custom silicon space.